Hello, J-Knights! Today we're talking about JASNA's biggest yearly event, the AGM. Here to explain the ins and outs of this amazing gathering of Austen enthusiasts are three members of this year's AGM team. First up, we have Jane Boltz, who is the Vice President for Conferences. Hi, Jane!
Hi, great to be here.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. What is the JASNA AGM?
That is the annual general meeting of the Jane Austen Society. It's held every year since 1979, and so this is the 46th annual general meeting.
Awesome. And how long does it last? Are there different themes?
The conference is held over 4 days. It will be October 9 through 12, and it's centered on a particular theme, and this year it is Austen at 250. No check to my genius from beginning to end. There are lots of additional activities, tours, craft workshops, dance workshops, a banquet, and a ball.
Man, it's so fun. I've only been one time. I went in Cleveland last year, and I'm sure I'll keep bringing that up because that's my only personal experience that I've had. But it really is. It's unlike anything you've ever been to. It is so much fun. So tell me, for people who haven't been, is it for scholars? Is it for fans? Is it for both? What is it like, and what should people expect?
It's both a conference with top academics and experts and an opportunity to meet and socialize with other Janeites with Jane Austen as the common ground. It's for everyone, whether you've just discovered her 6 months ago or 50 years ago. About 20% of the attendees are first-timers, but some people come every year. We've had grandmothers, mothers and daughters, sisters. In my region, we have a father, a daughter, and a son-in-law. And this year, I'll be bringing my 2 daughters.
Oh,
We've
fun.
also had winners of our student essay contest who have grown up and become speakers. So it's fun, it's lighthearted, and you learn a lot.
Something fun that I didn't know until I showed up at the conference. Everybody has lanyards with their names on them, and then there's these ribbons. So it's like if you are a board member, you get a ribbon for that, and if you are a volunteer, you get a ribbon for that. And they have first time attendee ribbons, which was really nice for me because then you can immediately see, oh, everybody with a light blue ribbon, they haven't been here before. And so we can, because sometimes it can feel like, oh, everybody knows what they're doing except me. But like you said, there's a lot of people who come for the very first time every time. So
And people are very welcoming. That's one thing. Janeites are very welcoming.
it's such a fun community. Okay, we won't dwell on this for too long, but you sometimes create special outfits, Jane, don't you?
Yeah, I often copy fashion plates. And for the ball, I have fun making an outfit that riffs on the theme and or the location.
So, for example, we were in Cleveland last year, again, the only AGM I've ever been to, and it's the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it was the same weekend as the induction, and so Jane came as like a rock and roll Regency lady. It was so funny. Didn't you have like an inflatable pink guitar?
Now, that was actually a reticule. I made that, and
Oh.
it was a guitar. I put a yardstick in there to make it, and it
Oh.
was a copy of Stratocaster.
Uh-huh.
But I made it as a reticule so I could carry, my wallet and my phone.
It was so awesome. She is so fun, and she's got an outfit where you look like Lord Byron, like where he
Oh
wears
yeah,
that turban and everything like that. It's amazing, but you don't. That is not required to come to the AGM, right? You
exactly.
can show up in your jeans. I definitely did several days in a row. So everyone is welcome.
Everyone is welcome.
Wear whatever you're comfortable in. So, what is different about this year or special about this year?
This year is the 250th anniversary of Jane Austen's birth. And so it's extra special. And there are many speakers and activities, and we're going to hear about them from Jen Jones, the AGM coordinator. The fees will be a bit higher this year because the cost of putting on the conference has gone up. But we're in a great low-cost location in Baltimore, a beautiful hotel on the waterfront with beautiful views, and we have a great room rate, very reasonable room rate. I would advise you to stay at the hotel, not at another hotel, at the conference hotel, because the schedule is so packed.
It just sounds like it's going to be so much fun. I'm really excited about it. What if people can't make it though?
If you can't make it to Baltimore, we have a live stream virtual conference package, including all the main content from all 4 days. So you can still participate.
What is your top tip about the AGM, Jane?
You to come to the AGM. This is the 250th anniversary. Reading a book is something we all do alone, but participating in an AGM is to celebrate all the books all together with people who are all excited. And Austen is a global phenomenon, and you really get to appreciate that at the AGM at a conference.
And I would say that it's the people that you meet and it's the relationships that you form. It's unlike anything else.
Yes, I met so many people, made so many friends, and it's just amazing. And when I first got involved, I knew no one. Mm-hmm. And just talking to everyone, you have instant friends. Yeah. I can't tell you how many friends across the nation I have.
Well, and when you have cool outfits, or when someone else is wearing a cool outfit, it's a very easy icebreaker. Be like, oh, I see that you have a hot pink guitar reticule. It makes it pretty easy to talk to people. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jane. We're going to talk to Debbie now. Okay, next we're going to hear from Debbie Duncan, who serves as the registrar. Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
I'm excited to hear about this. So for people who have never attended the AGM, how should they prepare?
Okay, well, first we are posting pages on the JASNA website. Go to conferences, and you'll see a link to the AGM website, and it has details of all of the different programs and activities. So it's really important to read the descriptions of all of the options, breakouts, ticketed activities, meal selections, and so on before registration opens, and decide in advance what it is you'd like to sign up for. Then on registration day, you can go through the process and very quickly click the boxes for each of your selections, and that will get you through the process much more quickly. And if you stay too long, you could get timed out and have to start over, and nobody wants to do that. And you'll lose a lot of time if you spend time reading, because it's 4 or 5 separate pages full of questions.
Yeah, you gotta be ready. You don't want to be making the decision while you're have the stress of registering. Right. You gotta do your research beforehand.
Right. And in addition to that, we also post a written registration guide, and we do a video walkthrough of the process where you can see what the actual pages will look like on the screen in advance. And a lot of people have found that to be really helpful in knowing exactly what they're looking for. And again, all of this stuff will be on the AGM web pages.
So when does registration open, Debbie?
All right. It opens on June 19th. And we typically it opens at noon. I haven't heard the final time, but it almost always opens at noon Eastern.
Okay.
So that's something to mark your calendar for. One little tip here. The bulk of all of the registrations come in within the first, right after registration opens. Everybody jumps on so that they can get in, get themselves registered, and get all of the activities that they want to get. Mm-hmm. So there will be a big rush, and people want to start. They'll start logging in right at noon.
Yeah. It's like, I recently signed up my kids for summer camp, and it was like, they were like, everybody be on there at 11:59, because as soon as the clock turns over, 1,000 other moms are all going to be on there trying to sign their kids up. So right. You got to take it seriously.
Yes. One other thing though about that, don't try to do it early, because we have found that people who try to log on before the magic hour, then they get locked out, and then they find it difficult to get back in. We're not sure why that happens. But the bottom line is you should wait until you're really sure that the time has come. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you won't be locked out if you try at 12:02 instead of 12 o'clock on the dot.
Okay. And what about registering for hotels? Does that happen at the same time or a different time?
Registration for hotels is a few days later. That'll be on June 23rd. And that the information, just a link and a phone number to the hotel for making the reservation, is going to be available on the AGM hotel webpage, which is a different page from the registration webpage where you're going to find it.
Okay. Do you expect this AGM to sell out? What do you think?
You know, it's really hard to tell, because some years it has sold out in 15 minutes. Whoa. And recently we've seen, we probably have more capacity than we did at one point. But now we've had some spaces that, still can register new people, at various points during the summer. So yes, you could take the risk and register later. And some people do. There's always people who year after year register like 4 days later. But you could risk, if it does sell out, you risk being put on a wait list. But also some of the ticketed activities have capacity limits as well. And if there's something there you really want, that you think is going to be popular, you probably want to jump on and try to get that right away.
Yeah, those spots for like the tours and the embroidery workshops and things like that, those are a lot more limited.
Yeah,
so if you want those,
there's
you
not
gotta
much
be...
space in some of those rooms at the hotel.
So what do you do if you don't get in, if the registration fills up?
We have a wait list. So something will come up and tell you that it's full, and you can add your name to the wait list. And the same is true for any one of the ticketed activities. If it shows as full, you can put your name on the wait list. And so if you do get on a wait list, and lots of people get off the wait list. It's not some hopeless thing. For, people's plans change, they get sick. And so, dozens of people get off the wait list, and, at least one time, and we've had at least 100 people get off the wait list. So if you do get on a wait list, and the way you find out if you get in is we will send you a notification email. And so it's very important to keep an eye on your email that you use to register, because that's how you'll get notified. And what we do is we give people 2 days, and this is the same for registering for the AGM or being waitlisted for an activity. You get 2 days after we email you to register or not, and after 2 days we move on to the next person.
Okay.
So don't use an account that you only check once a month.
Yeah, keep your eye on your email.
Right.
Okay, so then let's go with, how do you actually register?
How do you register? Okay, we have an online registration system, and there's a link on the registration page. You click on that link and it will take you right into the registration system. And I can't remember what the first screen does, but it very quickly asks for your name and your basic information, and you're in and you get going.
And so what if you want to register for the live stream virtual option that Jane talked about?
The registration process is the same. You'll see there's a I think it's on the very first page. They want to know what kind of registration you want, whether you want to be an attendee, a companion, or a live stream. Now, the live stream isn't going to show until we actually open it up, which I think is on the 23rd.
Okay, and so that's a little bit later.
It's a little bit later.
But also, if you do register for in the in-person conference, and then you later find out that you can't come, you can switch, right? Is that right?
You can switch, yes. I think we have it set up so that we have to do the switch for you, because the system does weird things if you don't.
Oh, okay.
And this is, if you have any questions, you email jasnaagm@gmail.com, and you'll get me and I will respond.
Okay. How does the virtual experience compare to the in-person conference? I've never, like I said, I've only been in person once, and I've never done the virtual option.
You'll get as much of the core parts of the conference. You'll get to see the same number of breakouts. You'll get to see all the plenaries. And then there's other special sessions that will be available on the live stream. So you'll get to see basically as much content as the people who are there in person will be able to see. And also, you do not have to watch it live. The recordings are available. I think we're extending the period during which the recordings are going to be available after the conference. So the experience should be better this year than it has been before.
Okay. And just a note to say that if you don't care that much about dressing up, if you do the virtual option, you can watch in your pajamas, which is always a nice option.
That's true.
From the comfort of your own couch. So what are your top tips, or do you have a top tip, Debbie?
Check your emails regularly. During the summer, we send out 3 or 4 updates to let people know about changes to the schedule, special opportunities, and the like. Take a look at them so you don't miss anything important. And if you find you're not receiving emails, there are two things you can do. One is to go to the AGM Update Center on the JASNA website. And the second thing you can do is email me.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, Debbie is your friend, everyone. If you want to
I'm
go
your
to the
friend.
AGM, she's here to help. Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Okay. Last but certainly not least, we have Jen Jones, who is the coordinator for this year's AGM in Baltimore, which is an enormous responsibility. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Breckyn. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to hear about this. I a little bit want to know if you're stressed out of your mind or if it's like going totally fine.
It has moments. There's lots of time where there's days that go by, there's nothing happening, and then all of a sudden it's like 16 things have to happen all at one time.
The
So right
hotel
now,
and the food and the oh my gosh, the list of things that you need to do.
I know right now we're in some serious crunch time of just trying to get everything ready to get up to June 19th for the registration to open, and so that's that really is a big crunch right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, so tell us, what is it like planning an AGM, a JASNA AGM?
It is so exciting. Our region has been working on this for years. We're doing fundraisers, we're planning tours, we've been identifying speakers. We had all these huge brainstorming sessions and had to bring all of these different ideas. And then it was like, okay, now we have to stop and bring it down into what this actually is versus everything under the sun.
Uh-huh.
So
well, and I mean, how special do you feel that you get the 250th?
it's a good starting point because you already have that and it's a big party, and so we're moving forward with the big party, and now we just have to try to figure out what it is to make that party a reality. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is very special. I think it does maybe put a little bit of pressure to make sure that it's the party of the year. I think that we're planning one of the largest conferences, literary conferences in the world. I mean, there's a lot of celebrations that are going on, but this I think is going to be the largest literary party all together doing this.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us about a few of the speakers and what they're going to talk about. Just give us a little preview.
Oh, we have so much stuff. We have more than 40 speakers that are spread over 4 days. So I can't mention all of that. I mean, we'd be through pages and pages and pages of things and minutes and hours.
Mm-hmm.
We're welcoming one of the most well-known biographers in the world, Paula Byrne, to give us our keynote address. And then literary critic John Mullen will close out our conference. One of the plenary speakers is a panel where we have writers and scholars that are going to talk about where they see the evidence of Jane Austen's genius. We'll have a focus on the places she lived, including a talk by Austen family descendant and an archaeologist who led the dig at Austen's birthplace. Several speakers will talk about Austen's legacy, how it's endured over time and influenced modern storytelling. So we'll hear about key figures in preserving Austen's legacy from Juliet Wells, our North American Scholar honoree, Vanessa Riley, who's the author of historical fiction and a consultant for Hallmark's film adaptation of Sense and Sensibility, will talk about Austen's influence. And one of our special guests will be Susanna Harker, who portrayed Jane Bennet in the BBC's 1995 Pride and Prejudice. Other speakers will consider Austen's genius from various angles. We'll have 5 sessions of breakout speakers so that you can choose which topics interest you most. And there's so much more that's all listed on the AGM website.
That's pretty exciting, though. 2 years ago at the Denver AGM, I wasn't there, but they had Adrian Lucas, who was Mr. Wickham. So you're just like one by one knocking out all the like we'll get up to Colin Firth eventually, right?
I don't
somebody
know
will get
about
him.
that, but you can definitely do your fangirling out. Let me tell you, I was fangirling, on the inside, and now I'm getting to, we're going to get to meet Jane Bennet, so that is very exciting.
One of the things that I appreciate about going to the AGM in person is that you get to actually meet the speakers and talk with them, and sometimes there'll be a line of people waiting because they want to dive more into this specialist topic.
And that is such an important thing, Breckyn, about being there in person is the vibe that you get. Not only are you there with all of your closest Janeite friends, but you get a chance to meet these speakers. They're so approachable. They interact with the attendees. You get to engage with them during their talks as well as afterwards. And then you never know who you could end up dancing with at the ball or walking past on the way to the ball.
Or just like meeting in the elevator. That's always fun.
Absolutely. There's always great stories about meeting people in the elevators. So there's also all these speakers have written books. So you'll have a book signing on Sunday morning, and you'll get a chance to again talk to these speakers. You know, you've listened to all of them, their talk, and what they are bringing to the scholarship of Jane Austen, and then you get to meet them and talk to them and what it means to you. And it's such an incredible experience.
And I am always surprised at how down to earth these scholars are. Like, I mean, these people are incredibly intelligent. John Mullen, I got to interview him for the podcast, and he's just such a friendly guy. He was so, like, in addition to blowing my mind with all of these insights about Jane Austen, he was just really easy to talk to and was really willing to just chat, which is lovely. It's
Yes.
just such a great community.
They really are just so down to earth, and they just want to talk about Jane.
Yeah,
You know,
we all do.
really. We
That's
all
what we
do want
want.
to talk about Jane. Yes.
Well, you mentioned the ball. Can you talk a little bit about the various experiences that people can take part in?
Of course, we have the ball, which is so much fun, but there's also dance classes. So if you've never been to a ball, you can try your hand or your feet at some dancing. And a lot of people also enjoy dressing up. Some people dress up just for the banquet and the ball, but then some people are in their costumes and Regency attire for the entire multiple days of this experience. So it's totally up to you. I think I heard you earlier talking with Jane about the fact that, you know, some people are in jeans. It's whatever makes you comfortable is the part of this that's so much fun, is you're there to make the experience.
But there's also an emporium, right, where they sell all of these gorgeous, like, dresses and fans and gloves and
all kinds of things you can accessorize with. Yes, you can.
That's awesome.
We also have workshops and tours. So some of the workshops we've got are going to be on how to, you know, sing Regency songs and make different little Regency items like Regency calling cards. So there's a variety of different workshops you can choose from. To learn Regency handicrafts. We have optional tours that are going to go to some of Baltimore's top sites. And in the hotel, something that just is so near and dear to my heart is I've been trying to get a pop-up museum. And so we're going to be having a pop-up museum where curators and collectors are going to show off their treasures within the hotel. So you get a chance to see some things that are connected with Jane Austen's time right there in the hotel, and get to hear from the curators of what these mean to them. There'll be an Austen themed play and a concert on Sunday afternoon. And then there's just some fun stuff like a Northanger Abbey escape room.
What?
Yes.
That sounds so fun.
Will General Tilney come after you or just send you in the coach? We don't know. You'll have to find out.
Okay. I didn't know about that. This is the first time hearing of it. That sounds really fun.
Yes.
That is awesome. So what is your top tip for this AGM, Jen?
I have two. One, I do want to say that I really love the Attendee Plus add-on edition, because the add-on option, I guess, not really edition, because I see so many things. There's so much in these programs that you can't get to it all, or you want to see something again. There's always that one thing that you're like, oh, I just want to listen to them again because they were so inspiring and so cool, or they said something in a different way. So we have the in-person attendees have an option of adding the Attendee Plus to your registration. So you'll be able to see all that recorded content of the core conference for 90 days after the AGM. So that is a great little bonus where sometimes, you know, you just need to watch it again. So my other tip is that the AGM is a once in a lifetime experience. Even if you go every year, it's still every year is a totally different thing. And you're among friends. You are among the Janeite friends. Even if you know no one, when you get there, you have something in common with every single person there. And being there in the conference hotel, staying on site, you are at the center of everything happening. The whole time you are surrounded, you're talking Jane, you're talking about all of these things, and it is just such a wonderful experience to spend that time with people that all have this passion and this excitement for Jane Austen and what she has done for our lives.
And like we're not doing a video, so you guys can't see, but Jen is currently wearing Jane Austen silhouette earrings. And it's just that kind of thing. You can be like, oh, look, you have Jane Austen tights. Or, hey, look, amazing handbag that's made from the Peacock Pride and Prejudice cover. It's just...
And we all know the ins. We know those little tips. Yes.
Exactly. And it's, people are like wearing the turquoise ring or the topaz crosses. And it's just like all these little signs and signals of this secret society that's not secret at all because we're all shouting it from the rooftops. workshops that we just love Jane Austen so much. So I hope that people will be inspired to go. If you've been hemming and hawing like, oh, one of these years I need to make it to an AGM, it's the 250th. Go to Baltimore. It's going to be amazing. You're going to have a great time.
And Baltimore is such a great setting for this. You're going to be right there on the water. You're going to be able to bring the experience just home and make you feel so good being there right on the water and enjoying and being there with all of your Janeite friends.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jen.
Thank you, Breckyn.